There's a lot of good things about gimbals. Gimbals are very fast in some ways, which a Steadicam is not at all. For example, if a director asks you, could you put the Steadicam into a car? I have to say, no, I can't, because I need a minivan. I can't use a car. I need a big car to get myself in there. I have to put a wooden platform in, I have to put a hard mount in, I have to do safety things. And so it takes me an hour just to get the camera inside a car. Now with this device, I just open up that quick release, I take off the head, and then I got a regular gimbal. And I can do exactly the same thing like every other gimbal can do. And I think this was the right way to go, because the last years people tried to divide Steadicam operators from gimbal operators, and I think it makes more sense to merge this skills and the products to make sure you got the right tool for the right request. And definitely don't waste the producer's time and money, just try to be as fast as possible, and on the other hand, show new shots. Because you might not immediately see what is the idea that it can always be up and down, but again, for example, if you walk down the aisle and you sit down, I will look down that way to you. That doesn't look nice because I can't see your face anymore. Now when you sit down, I always slightly can follow. You can always make sure I catch the face, no shadows, because we're not steep, we're flat, things like this. Or another funny thing, a running gag in Steadicam life is go down. In the old days, the director says, could you go lower? So we pushed the thing down, and then we put an extra long post in here, so we extended the thing up to 2 meters. And the only reason he asked me to go lower is because he wanted to see my feet. Now with this device, because I got a little joystick here, I can just pan down, which makes life easier. Because I got two interesting things. He got the shot he was looking for, and the other good thing is I don't have any background. Because if I take the regular Steadicam and make it extremely long to get it extremely low, I'm horizontal. I will see everything which is behind the actor, which is a problem because there might be the lighting truck still, or the catering, so I have to clean up the set. Now with this device, I just pan down, I don't have any background, but I see what we was looking for, the shoes. So it could work a kind of, in a good way, quick and dirty. And you can really control background very well. Now the other thing which is quite interesting, if you can move up and down all the time, you can also put a lot of foreground in your composition. And which of course makes every shot more dramatic, yeah, because there's something moving. Because the tricky thing is if you have, when a camera is moving, you should help the camera that you can see that the camera is moving, so the foreground is always good. Now what we also did in this device, maybe we should go quickly through the single components. So as I said before, the top is a 2-axis fully stabilized gimbal, and a very good remote head, by the way. That means also I can use wheels and remote as a DP. I can help him with wheels or joystick to control headroom. We have a very high resolution, it's 0.01 degrees. So it's a very precise remote head. Then in between here, that's classic Steadicam parts, as a post, as a gimbal. Down here, we're using the top stage, so we take off the top of a regular rig and put it on the other side. And you might see this little device here, which is a pendulum. So the pendulum always gives us what we call drop down. So if the camera's leaning down, the pendulum is about 700 grams, is closer to that center joint. So the camera's more heavy. Now when Jay goes to the other way, bring the camera up again. Now the pendulum is of course more far away. That means now the lower part of the system is more heavy. So this pendulum is always producing drop down. So the only thing Jay have to do is you just have to push the rig, and the rig will travel by itself to the other side. So we're using just gravity to stabilize the rig. And I think still, beside all the electronic stuff, the pendulum is the really funny thing about this rig. You have to be an experienced operator to use this device, because it feels like you're changing from a Cessna aircraft into a helicopter. You got 2 axes more. You have a different way to control the camera than a regular Steadicam. And the other thing is, of course, you should be experienced just to be able to conduct a long shot, to conduct actors, to help the lighting guys, just to create a long shot. Because my first shot with the prototype, we did it accidentally in UK, and it was out of the blue a 6-minute 40-second one taker with 50 people in the background. It was a massive scene. I thought, God damn. And I thought it's going to be easy day, and it wasn't at all. It was just massive. Because 6 minutes 40 seconds with 50 people in the picture is something. It takes a while to set this up, and a lot of these guys was not really professional, so they've been not in time in the right positions. So you should be experienced to handle all this stress. The other idea here is you can just take the thing apart, so you can only use the head on its own, which is also very interesting, just to have a 2-axis gimbal. Because you can produce, if you put this against your chest, you can produce a kind of handheld look, because I feel that I'm moving the pan axis with my hands. It is, of course, still a bit shaky. But of course, I got a rock steady tilt and roll axis, so you can even shoot with long lenses out of your handheld. It's a good in-between look. Because often we see when we use the other stabilizer, we have the Maxima, that people ask us, can you lock the axis to look at that it looks more rough? It's quite funny. People ask you for the best stabilizers, and then they ask you, can you make it look more rough? It's like, okay. So with this guy, we just don't have a third axis, so it looks anyway rough all the time, so this might be interesting. The other thing what I like about this is I can even take off the head, and I can give the head as it is to the director of photography. Said, you want to show me a shot? And he can use the gimbal itself just to design the shot, and later I will do it with this complete system. So we can give the director or photographer something to play with and just get an idea what I could do later for him. So, because sometimes it's easier just to do the shot and just before you talk too much about the shot, just do it. To keep it crisp and fresh. We can load nearly all kind of cameras. We can put up to 30 kilo payload on this. But a camera like the Mini is in the end the right choice, because this is all about agility. We can do very fast moves, so we should try to keep the camera load low. Because if it's too heavy, we produce too much inertia. If you get too much inertia, the movement gets slow, of course. So a Mini with a zoom is a very good setup, or Alexa with a prime lens. This is a very good thing, because technically the length of both setups is quite the same. But again, we can load theoretically, we can handle up to 30 kilos, which is nuts for an operator. You get definitely tired. So one of the pre-serial versions was used by Donald Jackson, one of the best UK operators, and he used it to open up the Olympic Games in Brazil. So he did the opening show and the final show, and this was already used a lot. And when you maybe go back in some YouTube videos about the Olympic Games, and every time you see the English people, you will see Don Jackson running around in front of your sportman with this device. And Don helped us a lot to make that rig what it is today. We worked like 2.5 years with a very small and very nice team together to get there. Because it was a kind of tricky, because a lot of people have been, especially my colleagues, be like, hey, you can't do this, you can't use a gimbal on a Steadicam. This is forbidden. And I said, I don't know, because gimbal is good, Steadicam is good, we should join this, because the producer's asking sometimes for the performance and the speed of a gimbal, because it's fast, you just take it, switch it on and do this thing. And we need hours sometimes to get it just into a car. And shooting today is much faster than 10 years ago or 20 years ago. 20 years ago when I said I need 15 minutes, it was like celebration, oh great, Steadicam needs 15 minutes. If I ask today for 15 minutes, it's like, you should better go, you're too slow. So I think we have to be faster. The other thing is, and we offer workshops for operators, and we also offer workshops for directors and DPs, because in the end, we can tell a story differently. But you have to get there to understand, because we always stop thinking, because we know, oh, we got a limit here, we got a limit there, and suddenly there's some of the limits not there anymore. And so it's quite interesting to come to a 3 or 4 day workshop and just sit there together and start finding out what the hell we can do differently, what was not available before. And there's a lot of shots which had not been possible before. So I'm tending to call the thing the sneaky cam, because I can sneak everywhere. I can really sneak around you without moving myself. So it's a quite interesting device if you've got a very narrow location and you want to work around the actor, maybe in the bathroom or in a train thing, and you don't have too much space. So we can move the camera a lot around the actor without moving the operator, because for us, this is most of the time the tricky thing. The director asks you, you have a long lens and then walk as slow as you can around the actor. It's like, oh God, could we use a dolly? It's so hard to walk in small steps. Now here, I just take the boom on, because for me, this is more like a mini techno crane. I just take the boom on and the remote head and just travel around the actor. Another nice thing, what I like about this is classic situation, you got two people sitting on a table. It's a classic interview, maybe it's a cop show or police show, whatever. So with a regular steady camera, we're just around the table for hours and circle the thing, but anyway, we'll always more or less have a look down. Now with this guy, I can start with a real nice steep over shoulder, and then slightly you're just diving down and you travel over the table, because I can travel fully horizontal. And then maybe there's some evidence on the table. And then I can look into the face of the actor. How is he reacting to the evidence? Try this. Do it this way. Go fully horizontal. And now he can really pull up while we're just traveling flat over the table. Now we can extend the rod, so technically we can lengthen the thing to 2 meters and 10, so we can travel a lot over a table. So we can travel forward, or we can also travel sideways over tables. When we travel sideways, we can even do top shots. So there could be little bits and pieces. And again, it's a stabilized head, so we can have a long lens. We can really pick you up details, and it won't shake, because you don't feel the human factor anymore. Of course, the other nice side effect is windy days, because we got a fully stabilized roll axis. Horizon is always pretty. Doesn't matter if it's windy, because for us Steadicam operators, wind is the biggest enemy. So when it's just slightly windy, we're immediately asking for someone with huge French flags to cover us, and which is also tricky, because I can't see where I'm running to, because somewhere there's some packed with students holding something in my way. So it's not the case anymore, because I'm fine. Even if wind is accidentally touching me, you won't see this. It doesn't happen. Or another interesting thing is, for example, this guy is a so-called regular operator, but maybe I want him to start on this side. So in the old days, he would have done this to get on that side. Now, turn back. Now he's just doing this. He's just moving the entire rig on the other side. So the little difference here is, in the old days, I had to turn away from the actor. I could only see what I see in my picture, but I don't see when the actor going to start, because I can't see him physically anymore. Now I'm standing still in front of him and just moving the camera to this side. I can still see, oh, he's lifting his feet, so here we go. So you can, even as an operator, I'm better connected to my target, let me say it this way. Another thing which is different to the classic way using that device is, the Steadicam, classic Steadicam, the monitor is down here, and I moved it up here. So it doesn't matter where the camera is, I got the monitor always in front of me, it doesn't travel at all. Makes life easier, because I don't have to chase my monitor, it's always there. It's good if you get older, if you got bifocal glasses, you get a picture which is in focus, which is something. Because if I look down there, it's kind of, and I have to trust my focus puller, which is also sometimes. So that's interesting. And there's another safety aspect. Because the monitor is so much higher, I can see more into the room. In the old days, I looked very steep down. So when I'm running through woods, I was like a half meter left before I run into the next tree or hole or whatever. Now I see a minimum 3 meters before in front of me. So this is also a nice safety aspect. Also, when we don't run, the monitor stays in front of me, because in the old days I was running like this, which was quite dangerous. So this is more safe, by the way. And but again, this this means you have to bring together good operators and DPs and really work on the way you can do the shot, plan the shot. Because what is nice, as I said before, you can work a lot with foreground. So what you imagine is we follow someone through the flat, and someone else is already sitting in the living room on the couch. So what is nice now is while we follow the guy walking, and he maybe goes through the door, we use the door, and that moment we start diving down. So the door becomes foreground. We are already on the eye level of the person on the sofa, which is looks way different if you approach him already low instead of quite steep, and then in the end you just push it down. So there's a lot of little things you can offer which looks definitely better. Or the other good thing is you can make a classic boring shot a bit more attractive. The other thing we can also do very fast is shots like someone is sitting on a glass table, and we maybe start below the glass table, just diving around the table into a close-up, which takes you an hour to do this. The only way to do this is a dolly. You need a dolly, you need a U-bungee, you have to make the decision, do you use a telescopic or do you use the chip arm, but it's definitely an hour, and I can show you that shot in a minute, just to give you an idea if we should do it or not. If you use shooting PL3, this is super lightweight. This is GoPro. To compare to a 535 or things like this, right? Because you can really do extreme angles, right? It can really be above you, like this, traveling down. So maybe we want to get someone immediately in the shot on this side. We just turn to this side, right? In the old days, if you asked me, could you go quickly over there? I was like, wait a minute, I have to be here. It takes 3 seconds, and I just do this, done. Or maybe you have to sneak into your bag, say, what the hell is inside here? And maybe you come in, for example, now you come down, you take your phone out, right? So you will do this, I can see your face, you do this, you're traveling around, we connect you to something else, right? No way in the old day, no way. Because first of all, I have to make up, should I do it in low mode or high mode? Because maybe you stand up. And all this is low mode. But when you're standing up, I'm too low. So if you would stand up, I have to do things like this. It looks ugly. Now, when you stand up, I just travel with you and ending up eye line. It's the same when you walk up and down stairs. Really watch movies when you see a second walking up downstairs. Most of the time you don't see the stairs. You know that you walked down the stairs, but you can't see them. Because I have to make the decision, I should be high because I want to see the face. That means I can't see the stairs. Now I can start low, show everything, and while you come closer, I'm just traveling up. Or like this, you can really... Or we can even start here, right? No way. In the old days, there's no way to get there. You can walk around here. We are here. So that's what we call a whip pan. So normally we try not to be too fast because you can't stop this thing in the end. Now here we want to be as fast as possible because it's always perfect. So you could have really maybe a cop show with 2 guys, and you can do a lot of whip pan thing because it's rock steady all the time. You can really speed up action.